Progressive presents Mindfulness with Flow.
You are a mighty fortress of supreme knowledge. Progressive Direct has not only revealed their rates, but those of their competitors. If you were any more in the know, you would be drowning in, the know.
Compare Progressive Direct rates with competitors' rates, because knowledge is power. Visit Progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Comparison rates not available in all states or situations. Prices vary based on how you buy.
Blog Talk Radio.
The year, 1888. The place, London's East End. Dead and mutilated bodies are popping up all over, from Stamford to Whitechapel. Jack the Ripper is leaving his mark, and the city's on edge. Yvonne Mason is back with a tale of murder and millinery. The Rhodes Hat Factory is booming while the body count rises. Why now? How are these hats connected? Has the Hatter gone mad? Mad Hatter, from Yvonne Mason. Available now on Amazon.com.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Yes, it is Friday night. I have had 6 Mondays in this week. Of those 6 Mondays in this week, I've had no sleep. So I am running on adrenaline, sheer stubbornness, and maybe stupidity. I'm not sure in which order those are, but it doesn't matter. It's Friday night, and we're going to have fun. I am your host, Yvonne Mason. That was a piece of my shameless promotion. My ad man is Christopher Dunham, and as y'all can see, he does a fantastic job. That is my historical fiction, The Mad Hatter, set in England in 1888, and we all know what happened in 1888 in England, in Whitechapel. If you don't, then you've been sleeping all these years. But it's not about that crime. Even though it runs parallel with my story, it's not about that crime. So, no, you can't go over there now and buy it. You have to wait until after the show. After the show, go over to Amazon and order The Mad Hatter. You won't be sorry. Ran the numbers this morning, ladies and gentlemen, and I have to tell you, every day I get up and run the numbers, and every day I am humbled, amazed, shocked, happy, speechless, if you can believe that one, because this show has taken on its own life form. I don't know what we've done to be so blessed, but I'm going to tell you, every night in my prayers, I thank God for this show and its success, because it is because of my guests the show is so successful. As of this morning, just on this show, we are at 5,573 listeners. We are very close to 6,000 listeners on this show. Overall, including all the podcasts, we have reached 16,000 listeners. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm in awe. I am shocked. I'm excited because we're reaching people that I didn't even know existed. Little bitty islands, the Russian Federation, the Republic of the Congo, of all places. And I do have to give a shout-out to 2 countries that are my biggest listeners. And no, it's not the USA, if you can believe that. Australia is my biggest listener here on Blog Talk Radio, and Canada is my biggest listener on Spreaker. I think we're doing a good thing here. I know we're doing a good thing here because my guests are being heard, their product is getting out, their brand is getting out, and they are succeeding, and I am very humbled and very grateful for that. So continue sharing this show with folks and keep listening, because we are going big because we're not going home. That being said, tonight's show is author Brittany, and I hope I don't massacre her name because I forgot to ask her how to pronounce her last name, Quagan. I hope that's right. If not, she'll straighten me out when she comes on. She is known by family and friends as Brittles. I love that. She was born in Connecticut. She's 20-something years ago, and she spent most of her life daydreaming like the stereotypical Gemini she is. My husband's a Gemini. You got to love those Geminis. Growing up, she wanted nothing more than to live a life of magic, mayhem, and writing, never knowing her dreams were being manifested into a reality with every wish and intention. As a teen, her anxiety-riddled existence became nothing less than a burden, but she was determined to escape it and convinced there had to be more going on than just being anxious. It wasn't until she met a new group of friends who guided her down a path of understanding energy and intuition that her life changed and she was able to overcome this. Today, Brittany owns Journeys. It's a holistic wellness and anxiety relief center in Simsbury, Connecticut, an anxiety relief, intuitive development, and healing center to help others who suffer from anxiety and panic disorder and those who believe in the unseen to tap into their intuitive selves and to help people grow, find empowerment, manifest like a boss, I like that, and heal from whatever it is they feel stuck. Now, as if that wasn't enough, Brittany has released a new book. It is called Awakened, and it's about someone named Wren. Now, Wren's story isn't one that just came to Brittany. It's a story she lived. Most of what you read about in the Adventure-Filled series are experiences that are very real and that actually happened, as it is based entirely on her life and people she has met along the way. The series is one that's dwelled inside Brittany since she was a child, but she couldn't tell it until she finished living it for herself. And I guarantee you, ladies and gentlemen, this young lady has not finished living her adventure yet. With that being said, welcome, Brittany. Thank you so, so much, my dear, for spending an hour with me. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. I'm super excited to be here, and you nailed my last name. So good job, because people don't usually do that.
Oh, thank you. I did the phonics thing, where it's pronounce it like it's spelled, and thank you. I'm glad I nailed your last name. Now, you and I were talking before the show, and we're going to cram a whole lot into this hour. But let's tell the folks a little bit about you and how you arrived here at this place. What happened as a child to create your anxiety and your fear? And we talked about a little bit about that earlier, and we'll give the anagram for that in a little bit. But what happened that sent you down that dark path?
We only have an hour.
We only have but you can come back. I'll be happy. I'm going to bring you back.
That's a really great question. Anxiety is something that I really lived with since I was probably about 2 years old, and there's a lot that probably went into the fear, to be honest, but I was always somewhat of a hypochondriac as a child. I always was super nervous that I was going to die, but I was also really nervous about terrible things happening around me. I was scared my mom was going to die. I was scared things were going to happen to people around me, that, the world was going to blow up. Just all kinds of catastrophic things went through my head all the time, and I don't really know where that stemmed from necessarily, because there wasn't any isolated experience that I could say, oh, that really triggered it. But as I got older, I feel like a lot of the psychological development that sort of went into, but growing up I had parents that parented very differently. one that sort of gave you the, hey, you're not good enough, you have to try harder, you're never going to amount to anything type of parenting. And then I had the parent who was very, you could be anything you want to be. And I was kind of living in this flip-flop place all the time where I didn't know if I was good enough, and I didn't know if, I would ever be good enough. And then it was, or is my mom right? And I am good enough, and this and that and the other thing. And I feel like living like that, it takes a toll on you when you're trying to develop as a child. And as someone who studied psychology, I know that when you're developing as a child, having those different parenting skills can sort of take its toll. But I sort of fell into the belief system that my dad fed me, which was, you're not going to amount to much. So I was constantly living in fear that I was being judged all the time, and that I was always doing things wrong, or that I would always have to try harder and would still fail. And I feel like that really sort of created this anxiety place, and really just a fear of not amounting to anything. If that makes sense.
Yeah, it makes trust me, I'm getting a sense of deja vu, because I know you've heard some of the shows where I've said the teachers, when I were in grammar school, always said, you're not good enough to write. And when my mother would go to parent-teacher conferences, they'd say, poor little Yvonne, she's doing the best she can. But what they did is the same thing that happened to you. I too lived with that fear of, well, I'm never going to amount to anything. I just have to accept what comes along and be happy with it. And one day I woke up and said, no, I'm not settling anymore. I don't have to.
Good for you. I wish that happened to me.
Well, it took 3 children, a nervous breakdown, and an abusive husband.
Damn, girl, we all got to go through that stuff, I think.
What else can happen? Come on.
I feel like it's those type of scenarios, though, that create the empowerment. I feel like if we don't go through something like that, we don't find our power, and we just of continue. But it takes getting beaten down that creates this strength. So people will ask me now, because after all of that, I went through a lot of struggling with drug addiction and drinking a lot. And people ask, well, do you regret all of that? And I say absolutely not, because if I didn't go through that, there's no way that I would have done the things that I've done now. So,
and that's true, because what doesn't kill us will strengthen us. Mm-hmm. And we do become empowered, because what else can they do to us? What else can we do to ourselves?
Right.
And you either got to crawl out of that hole and say, thank you all for telling me no, because look at me now, which is my favorite song, or prove them all right and curl up and die. And I think both of us are a little bit too stubborn for that.
Oh, so stubborn.
And as you felt like a yo-yo well, it's more than that, it's a push me, pull you, because one was pulling in one direction and the other one was pulling in the other direction. And the Catholic Church tells us, give me a child until they're 7 years old and they'll be Catholics for life. And psychologists have told us that a child's entire personality is formed by the time they're 7 years old. Mm-hmm. And the stronger personality in your life was the one that had the negative impact on you. Would that be a fair statement?
That's, you know what? I don't know, because it was my dad's stubbornness that I feel like might have been actually a positive impact overall, because he was super stubborn. But, I still always heard my mom's words in the back of my mind, which was, yes, you can, yes, you can, yes, you can. And I feel like the combination of being stubborn and hearing that, eventually those two components sort of melded together and said, okay, be stubborn, but be stubborn with the fact that you can do it, as opposed to caving to anyone else's belief that you can't.
And not allowing outside influences such as addiction, which we all know as a general rule, people with anxiety and manic depressive disorders, they fall into that because it's easy to escape. They don't have to be
so
accountable for quote-unquote failure, because they're going to fail anyway, so let's just prove everybody right. So they do that, not realizing that they have done their own self-fulfilling prophecy.
Yeah. I distinctly remember laying in bed one night when I was probably at rock bottom, and I was having this conversation with myself, and I was just like, you are literally doing exactly what he said you would do, which is nothing. And that was like my aha moment. I was like, screw this. This can't be your reality anymore. And it sort of like lit a fire under my tail to say, okay, you either die any day now because that's what you're doing to yourself, or you do something with it. But substance definitely was a numbing thing for me that sort of dulled what was going on externally for me at home, and it also simultaneously masked all of my anxiety symptoms, because those got so horrific where I couldn't even leave the house. They had diagnosed me like with a little bit of agoraphobia, because I couldn't leave the house sometimes, because just being in public drove me into a panic attack. So substance helped me to mask all of that, because when you have tunnel vision and you're dizzy, but you're drinking all the time, you're like, oh, I'm just drunk. This is cool. So
doesn't matter.
You're so anxious. It just sort of blended together.
Would it be fair to say that the anxiety fed on itself?
Oh,
and
absolutely.
That, you know where I'm going with this. Okay, I'm anxious because I'm afraid to go outside because I might get hit by a truck. Oh, and if I get hit by a truck, I might not die, but I might get severely injured and be in a coma for the rest of my life, which is worse than dying. Oh, no. But then I might not get that hurt. It just might tear up my car and I can't go to work. And then it's just like a snowball rolling downhill.
Ugh, you sound like my brain. It's like all day, every day. It's like, oh, my God, but if you do this, what if you go to the mall and then you have a brain aneurysm or a heart attack and no one there knows you and they don't call 911 and you're just laying there dying and no one knows how to save your life and blah, blah, blah. And that would always go through my head, just like all of the terrible things that could happen to me if I were to make any sort of action. So I just kind of sat there.
And before the show, I gave you the anagram for fear. And ladies and gentlemen, those of you who have never heard my show, I'm going to give you the anagram for fear. The letters for fear are FEAR. The anagram is false evidence that appears real. And this is what we're talking about. You can play a what-if game every day, 7 days a week, 24/7. The problem with that is it's all false evidence that has been manifested to appear real. What if you die in your sleep? So you're not going to sleep because you're afraid you'll die in your sleep? Really? Is no logic in that. What if you choked while you're eating or drinking? So now you're going to starve yourself and not do without liquid because you're afraid you're going to get choked?
It sounds so funny, but it's so scary and real when you're actually in that. But to look back on exactly what I sounded like, because it's verbatim things that probably went through my head, it's like you have to have humor with it because if not, it's going to be so crazy.
When I went back to college, now I was in my 50s when I went to college, and I got my degree in criminal justice. Thank you. I got my degree in criminal justice, and the reason I got my degree in criminal justice is because it was a dream that I'd had since I was a little girl. When I would watch Wanted Dead or Alive, I was going to be a bounty hunter. I was a bounty hunter, and the first thing my mother said is, Yvonne, you could get killed. Mother, I can get killed walking out this damn door, getting in my car, and going down the street.
Mm-hmm.
What's the worst that can happen? I've been raped. I've had a gun taken to my head. I've been abused for 18 years. They're going to kill me? We all die. It's no big deal.
Bring it on.
None of us get out alive.
Oh, my God. So, wait, did you become a bounty hunter?
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, you're awesome. That's so cool.
And I'm only 4'11", Brittany. So see, if I told you before the show, I lived in fear all my life. I was afraid I wouldn't have any friends. I was afraid my parents weren't going to get divorced. I was afraid that I wasn't good enough. Well, now in my 50s, I'm in school. I graduate with a 3.5. I'm a bounty hunter. I'm licensed to carry, and I go after bad guys.
You're my hero.
You too can do this.
Really are. That is badass.
It's nothing but a thing.
Oh my God, I love it.
What are you gonna do? I'm not gonna sit in my. And I did. There was a period in my life when I wouldn't go. I sat with the windows, the shades drawn, and wouldn't answer the phone. But then it dawned on me, stupid. You're allowing someone else to control your life, and you're allowing your brain, which is a muscle, which has no thought of itself because you control it, to control you. How dumb are you?
When you break it down like that, exactly.
So now I'm fearless.
I love it. I love it.
I've got nothing to lose and everything to gain. And this is, and ladies and gentlemen, we're laughing about this because Brittany has taken the same attitude. And I'm going to let you tell the story of your Alaska trip because you pretty much have done the same thing.
What, flying down a mountain on a mountain bike?
Yes, absolutely.
I mean, it was frightening. The thing is, I think the scariest part about it was people say that once you learn how to ride a bike, you never forget or that you could do it forever. That is a lie. That is a lie because I got on this freaking mountain bike after having not been on a bike since I was a little kid. I have never wobbled or have shaked so much in my entire life. I thought for sure I was going to plummet down the side of this mountain in Alaska. And I don't know. I don't know how I did it. I was screaming. I was crying. I was laughing hysterically. There were tears and probably other fluids leaking out of my face and bugs in my mouth and in my eyes. And I just mountain biked down this mountain in Alaska, and it was magical. It was probably one of the most magical, breathtaking things I've ever seen, but I'm pretty sure I had a mild heart attack along the way.
No, you just had an extreme adrenaline rush.
Oh, it was great. I needed that.
And the thing is, that's a natural high. It doesn't get any better than that.
It doesn't. It doesn't. And the best part is you remember after this kind of high as opposed to
Absolutely.
the other stuff.
Yes. You don't wake up going, what did I do now? Because you know exactly what you did and how you did it and the way you felt.
Right.
So
Feeling
you
is
can
the
walk
key.
out. And you can walk out that front door and get in your car and drive down the street and not worry about being in a wreck and winding up in a coma or worse or being dead, because it doesn't matter.
Right.
And what you have done, taken this journey, and you've come to the realization that if you don't control your brain, it can. And my brother, who was retarded, taught me that, because Mother taught him. If you don't control your brain, it controls you. Mm-hmm. And nobody told my brother how to control his temper. He's been bullied and not been treated very nice down through the years. And he told my mother one day that sometimes at work that he gets angry. And Mother said, well, Stanley, what do you do? And he says, I just walk away and go cool down. Now, nobody told him he had to do that. But he trained his brain rather than allow his brain to train him.
That's amazing.
And I think, correct me if I'm wrong, but in your wonderful, wonderful business journeys, that is some of what you do with your clients, correct?
Oh, yeah. It's all about learning how to take your power back and control your brain. Because people don't realize how powerful our brain is, but if you don't have that thing on a leash, then you can wreak some serious havoc.
Yes, you can.
Yeah.
Serial killers.
Oh.
Yeah, serial killers, pedophiles, you name it, because they allow their brain to control them.
Mm-hmm.
And drug addiction and alcohol addiction, it's nothing but the brain being in control. A muscle that goes, oh, hi, I'm on a tear now.
Right, I'm pissed. What can I do? Well, that's the thing, is a lot of it is anger, but anger is rooted in fear. And all of the things that we're so angry about really comes from this intense fear space. And it's about cracking into what is it that you're so scared of, because that's where all that fear is going to come from. So when your client, all right, let's say I'm your client and I am falling apart because I'm so anxious I can't walk out of my house for fear of getting run over by a train or something, and I finally muddle my way to Journeys because I've made up my mind, at least I want to be able to go to the grocery store, which I hate. I don't have a fear of it, I just hate it. Right. And so how would you help me be a better me? Oh, that's a really, really good question. It would definitely take a couple of sessions, that's for sure. I mean, I always start, if you're coming to me for any sort of guidance with anxiety or panic disorder, I really like to talk to my clients about what their everyday life is like and the things that, cause them fear, what their triggers are, if they even know what their triggers are, what their symptoms are. I like to get all of that sort of out of the way, but I do a lot of techniques with working with people's energy because, your emotions create an energy. So, like, if you think about, you've walked into a room and felt awkward tension before.
Oh, yeah.
I'm pretty sure everyone on the planet has felt awkward tension before.
And
in a
because
room.
I'm an empath, it's worse.
Are you an empath?
I am an empath.
Oh, my God, so am I.
See?
Oh, I knew I loved you.
See? This is why we understand each other. Oh, yeah, I can tell. I can read people's minds, and I can tell people what they're thinking and what's going to happen before it happens. And like I said, I can walk into a room, and I have to, especially if it's a crowd of people, but I have to leave after about 15 minutes because it drains me.
Yeah. See, well, then you will probably benefit from some of these techniques, because that used to happen to me too, but now I don't allow that to happen, because we're talking about the brain and stuff and the things that we allow. Well, the techniques I teach a lot of my clients, because wouldn't you know that the majority of people that come into me to see me with anxiety are really just empaths. And and for those people who don't know, who are listening, an empath is someone who just feels energy very intensely. You could just feel what's going on for other people, and it could be so debilitating. So if you're feeling things physically or emotionally, you hang out with those toxic friends, and then, you go home and you want to die because you just suck up all their crap all day. But it's about controlling that energy, to not allow it to suck you dry. But a lot of people with anxiety just sit there and they absorb stuff all day long, and that was a lot of my problem as a teenager and a young adult.
And if we had understood that, I think that both of us would have handled being young better than we did.
Oh, 1,000,000%. Absolutely. I
was angry all the time and didn't know why.
Yeah. Absolutely. And when no one can explain it to you, it's terrifying. When I would go to the doctor and tell her all the things that I'm feeling, she'd be like, "Oh, here's the medication." And she'd give me anxiety medication, but it was like, no. This is not what's happening. And anxiety meds didn't work.
Because it wasn't physical. It was an emotional and mental and inner. I call it synergy, because it's your mental and your emotional, and it's the energy. And I think what most of the population doesn't understand is we are made up of energy.
Mhm.
There are electrons in our body and neurons in our body, and they shoot off this energy. And when we are so open to other people, and it's not even just people, Brittany, it's places. When I went to Gettysburg, I would get out, and I'm also a photographer, so I would get out and take pictures, and I would get back in the car, and I would tell my husband, I'm not depressed, but I just feel so sad because I can feel the death and the destruction and the pain and the crying and all of this energy that was coming out of Gettysburg. And I was so tired when I left there, but I wouldn't have missed it for anything.
Yeah. I'm just so impressed and excited that you're in Empath right now. This is
honey, I didn't mean to impress you.
I'm just laughing, so I'm like, oh, this is so synchronistic, of course. I love it.
Most people don't understand what I'm talking about when I'm saying, okay, you're making me tired.
Right. Can you stop talking?
Can you just...
The things you're saying are exhausting me, and I'm feeling you.
Really? And I think that's why I hate going to the grocery store so much, because where I live in Florida, and this is where old people come to die, and most of them are from the north, and they're angry all the time because I guess they're too cold or they're too crowded. I don't know, but they come down here and they want it to be the north, and I have to go to the grocery store and deal with these people from November to June, and I just want them to go home.
All the pissed off shoppers.
Yeah. Because I'm from the South, and we're polite, and we say things like please and thank you. And if we want to insult you, we don't give you the middle finger. We just look at you and say, bless your heart.
Bless your heart. love it. Oh, my God. But I feel your pain. No pun intended.
The struggle is real.
It is real. I went out with a girlfriend a couple months ago, and we were catching up. I hadn't seen her in a while, and we went out for wings, and we were waiting in line because this place it takes forever to get in. And she was telling me the story about when she had her baby 9 months before that and all of the stuff that happened to her. And as she was telling me, I started to feel what she went through, and she looked at me and said, and then my blood pressure dropped. And I looked at her, and my blood pressure plummeted, and I fainted in the middle of the restaurant because I was feeling it so intensely. And I'm like, this is so embarrassing. But
there's nothing we can do about it.
I know.
Except we can't be anxious. We just have to do what we're doing now and laugh about it and understand that it is what makes us who we are.
Right. I do teach a lot of my students that the anxious piece and having it be something that is debilitating can be controlled. So I do a lot of exercises with them and grounding their energy and doing visualization with protection, so that way you set that you redirect that energy so that way it doesn't necessarily infiltrate yours, where you're not absorbing it. You can still experience it, but it doesn't have to be something that you actually take on like a sponge.
You just let it bounce off you and say, okay, I've heard your story. Are you going to change your direction or not? If not, then I don't want to hear the story anymore.
Right. Okay, thanks. Bye.
Yeah, that's what I tell them. Again, because I'll listen once, I might listen twice, but by the third time I'm saying, okay, I've given you these options. You've chosen not to exercise any of these options, so you either piss or get off the damn pot, but I'm not going to listen anymore. I don't have time for it.
Yep.
I
can't
get
say
over
that to my
it.
clients.
Sure you can. And then behind it, what you do, Brittany, is you say, and bless your heart.
Bless your heart. I'm going to start saying that to people who piss me off.
Yeah, and you say it with a smile, and they go, what did she just say? Was it a sympathy and empathy, or did she just insult me?
Well, because I'm from Connecticut, and up here, people think that that's like a nice phrase, but one of my friends moved down south, and she called me, and she's like, if anybody says bless your heart to you, they are not being nice. I was like, oh, okay.
Well, see, it's in the context of the
conversation.
Yeah, it's in the context of the conversation. And in the context of the conversation, if let's just say Mary Lou's walking down the street and she's got on this dress that's atrocious. I mean, just absolutely atrocious. And you're standing on the corner down in Savannah and you're saying, oh, my God, look at her. That poor woman, that's the best she's got. Bless her heart. Just totally insulted her.
Oh, my God. It sounds so sweet.
It just drips with venom, though, but just honey and
I
venom.
love it.
But it could be a compliment in that, well, bless his heart, he's been sick for so long. See, that's a compliment. That's empathy. But if it's somebody that you really want to nail and you really don't want to use foul language, because when you use foul language, you give them the power. But if you say, well, Mary Lou, honey, hate it that you just can't get your act together, bless your heart.
I love it. You do it so well.
Had lots of practice. So on that note, let's talk about your book because it has lots of your adventures in it.
Yes, it does. And actually, I never actually state this in the book, but Ren, the main character, is an empath. so a lot of what she goes through is what a lot of us all go through, because it's not, it started off where I thought the story was just about me. I was like, oh no, this is actually about a lot of people. And the more people who I meet and the more clients that come in and the more readers that contact me, I realize that her story is so many people's story. But yeah, her story is a metaphor for all of us, really, that we all have this power, but we also have these defense mechanisms that we hone throughout our lives. And the idea of the story is to really reach your power and tamp down the negativity and barriers that isolate us, and create an us against them mentality with the energies that she has to basically fight.
I'm going to read the blurb that you sent me. Ladies and gentlemen, no, you cannot go by the book now. You've got to wait until after the show is over, or else you're going to miss some very important stuff, so just keep your britches on. It's called Awakened, and it's 17-year-old Ren Nagel knows that the strange things she's seen are real, even if no one else believes her. But when she's locked up in a psychiatric hospital, she loses hope that anyone will ever truly be on her side. They tried to lock me up one time, Brittany, and they decided I was more sane than they were. Then everything changes. With the help of a new friend, Ren breaks out. It's when she's on the run she learns who she really is. Hunted by evil, Ren must learn to control a power she never knew she had, organize a coalition of people she never knew existed, and remind humanity why fighting the darkness is a big part of being human. Sometimes feeling different is much more than a feeling. For Ren, it means the fate of the world. I'm getting this book tonight when we get off the show, because I can relate.
Yeah, absolutely.
And my mother is an empath, and now my mother is 87 years old, and she'll call me up. She says, I don't like this feeling. I said, Mother, embrace it. It's who we are. Deal with it. It's your fault I'm this way, so deal with it. She says, but I don't like it. I said, I don't care whether you like it or not. It's who we are. We know things. We feel things. We predict things. And it's just who we are. Whether you like it or not, I don't know what to tell you. But it's not going away. My children are empaths.
I love it.
Most of my grandchildren are empaths. And I think it goes
really
generations. Yeah, it goes generations back. I wouldn't be surprised if somewhere back in the gene pool we weren't burned as witches.
Oh, then there. Oh, you're really going to like this story then.
Uh-oh. Tell me. I'm
excited. There's
pieces of
that in there, too.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, absolutely. It really explores a lot of past life experiences and all of that. And Ren, one of her experiences has to do with the Salem witch trials, is what I'll say.
Sweet. All right, now, because we are empaths, and because I believe that we live many lifetimes, because we as humans have souls. Now, I tend to believe that those souls are recycled, because I've been places or talked to someone, and I have this sense of deja vu and this visual flash of, I have done this before. And when I tell the person, we've had this conversation before. No, we haven't. I've never met you before. I said, we've had this conversation before.
I love that feeling.
Sometimes I do. Sometimes it scares me.
Why does it scare you?
Well, I'm not sure yet, but I'm sure I'll figure it out eventually.
Maybe they were the ones that hung you.
It could have been. It could have been.
That's why. Yep.
I knew that my ex-husband was having an affair before he told me, and it wasn't anything that he said or did. I just knew it.
Don't you love having that gift?
It's a blessing and a curse.
It is. But I decided to stop looking at things as a curse and just fully embrace it as a power, because I would rather know that you're a dirtbag right now than wait even longer. I actually was saved from a horrific relationship because of that. And just knowing. There was no evidence, no nothing that he was cheating, and I just woke up one morning and I was like, who's the 40-something-year-old blonde woman that you're cheating on me with? And he's like, what? I'm like, yeah, tell me more about her. And he's like, well, what? And boom, it all came out, and it was just easy for me to be like, toodaloo. But
see you later, bye. Have you ever shaken someone's hand when you were introduced to them and then felt like you had to go home and take a shower?
Yes. I say, get your dirty energy off of me.
Yeah, it's there's just something off about them, and you just got to go home and take a shower because you get that creepy, dirty, evil.
I can't imagine what you experience being a bounty hunter and being an empath.
Oh, Lord have mercy. It was interesting.
You're like a superhero with these empath powers. I want to write a series about you.
Okay. That's why I had a 90%.
Awesome.
I had a 99% success rate.
You go, girl.
Because of it.
I can imagine. Because you also know how to talk to these people.
Well, that's true, too. But when you're on the phone with someone and you can pick up their energy through the phone and you know they're lying to you, and it's not because of anything they've said or done, but you know it, and you know that if you keep asking the right questions, they're going to tell you what you need to know.
Right.
And it's
superpowers.
It's been interesting. It's been very interesting.
I love it.
So yeah, you could write a series. I could tell you stories make your hair curl.
Well, I've always wanted curly hair, so that would work for me.
So are you going to write another book?
Yes. So Ren Awakens, that's book 1. Book 2 is Ren Reposed, and that one will hopefully be out within the next 2 months. We're going through the editing and publication process now, which is grueling. So hopefully that'll be out it was supposed to be out for March, but we have some editing hiccups. So, yeah, I changed my mind a lot. So I had to tweak some
Why
things.
am I not surprised? You're a Gemini.
I know. That's a curse. That I cannot see as a blessing. My brain is all over the place. But I guess having the parenting style that I did was helpful for Gemini because I needed that. I needed the yo-yoing. But yeah,
don't overthink it. Just do it.
What's that?
I said, don't overthink it. Just do it.
I know. Well, I did this time. It's out. It's going. That's happening. I'm not changing anything else. So that'll hopefully be out within the next month or two. Once I have a date, I'll have it posted. And then the third one I'm writing currently, and I do not have a title for that. And then I have some other stuff I'm working on. But
so what if I bring you back in August and we can do a launch for the book in August and continue our conversation and drive everybody else crazy, because we know what we're talking about, but they don't. That's what makes it so much fun.
Yes. I'm 100% in.
Okay. I'll bring you back in August. That'll be fun.
Excited. Yes.
And see, you'll have more new and exciting tales. Who knows? You might hike the Himalaya or something. Who knows?
Maybe. That would be super cool. I'll see what I can do.
If not that,
Look up
maybe
an
you could
adventure.
come, or you could come down here into the Everglades and learn how to wrestle alligators. Or
that would be. I was actually in the Everglades 2 years ago, and I saw some baby alligators. There was a cow standing in a swamp too. That was interesting. I didn't expect to see him there. But I was like, hello. But I didn't get to wrestle any. Better make a trip back.
yeah, you need to. And the thing is, Florida's all swamp. The man has just perverted it. Mm-hmm. And the thing about Florida is it rebels every now and again, and then it tries to revert back to the swamp that it is. But there is so, as an empath, there are places that I go that you pick up the vibes of the past. And I have not been into the Everglades yet, but there's places that I've been that I can feel the past, and it's interesting. I want to walk.
You know
there.
where I felt it? In Florida, that shocked me was at Universal Studios.
Really?
I was picking up on all sorts of wacky vibes there, and it was shocking to me. I was like, shouldn't this be like super happy? But I had a little bit of trouble there a couple of years ago. It was very
but you
strange.
But you got to remember, you have tens of millions of people from all points of the world and beyond.
This is true.
And some of them are pretty creepy.
This is true. This is true. Yeah, I didn't think about that. I was thinking more location. And I'm like, this is so strange. So, yeah, next time I'm going to have to shut my feelers down.
Yeah, a lot of them are questionable. I mean, you think about, okay, Mickey World, children, adults with their brains controlling their bodies.
Those creepy people with their brains controlling their bodies. What are they thinking?
They aren't.
Exactly.
So there you go.
Oh, my God, I love it.
One place you need to go that you would really love is Crystal River.
Where's that?
It's over on the West Coast, and it is very calming.
Where in the West Coast? Because I love it over there.
It's north of Tarpon Springs.
Okay.
It's north of Tampa, north of Newport Richey. But it's very calming over there because there's a river and the manatees come up in the wintertime. That's where they winter.
Oh, I love manatees.
It's the Crystal River, and that's where they come up. So see, you need to come down in the wintertime and go over there and commune with the manatees.
I would love that.
There you go.
That would be super great. All right. I'll put it on my list. For my adventure. I have a list of adventure places.
See? Hang with me, girl. I'll tell you all the good places. And would you believe that our hour is almost up?
No. You were right. I'm a little shocked. It went very quickly.
It does, especially when you have as much fun as. And this is why I don't do a scripted show. Because
that was great.
A scripted show is too stilted, and I am anything but stilted.
I love even more so that I. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
People that are stilted don't unwind. And you were going to say?
I was going to say I loved it even more that I found out you were an empath while we were live, because that was just the best moment. That was so great. You should have seen my jaw drop.
See, people find out things about me because my life's an open book. It might as well be. Because when you live in the darkness, it's not any fun, and they just feed you mushrooms, and everything comes to the light eventually.
It's better to be authentic. Just throw it out there.
And everybody that knows me knows what you see is what you get, and if you don't want to know the answer to a question, don't ask Yvonne because she will tell you, and you might not like it, but you ask. What are you going to do?
It.
So, since we are getting low on time, before we run out and the show goes dark, where can you be found for our readers and our empathic friends that want to commune with you?
So I work with clients and students internationally. So I'm just a phone call and an email away in regards to working with me. If you need help with anxiety, or you do feel you're an empath, or you struggle just with any aspect of life that you feel you need help, you can go to my website, which is www.journeyssoulschool.com. I have my Facebook page, Brittany Quagan, or my Journeys Facebook page as well, which is Journeys Holistic Wellness and Anxiety Relief Center. You can email me, you can call me, you can text me, you can tweet me. Was there any other way to get a hold of me?
Or you can join us again, ladies and gentlemen, on August when we do the show again. We might even open up the phone lines next time.
Ooh, that would be fun.
So, yeah, that would be fun.
I'm down for that.
Yeah. So, y'all heard it here. Brittany will be back in August. I will get with her and get a date because I'm still filling up for August. And tomorrow night, ladies and gentlemen, I have author Rival Gates as my guest. This will be his first time on my show, so it shall be interesting. And every one of you that know me know that when the end of the show comes, that my pat statement is we're all dreamers, and we all dream. And don't be like Brittany and I were as we were younger and had to find our way once we got older. Don't allow anyone to steal your dream. They can't steal it without your permission, so don't give them permission. And that being said, if you want to achieve greatness, stop asking for permission. Just do it. And when someone tells you you can't, say, bless your heart. Because you can. There's nothing to stop you but yourself. And the men that had walked on the moon had doubt in themselves. We wouldn't have gone on the moon. If Mozart had doubted himself, even though he was insane, we wouldn't have his music. If Shakespeare had doubted himself, we wouldn't have great literature. So understand this, ladies and gentlemen. If your child has a dream, support them. If you have a dream, support it. If your best friend, significant other, aunt, uncle has a dream, support them. Don't be that person at the end of your life that says, I have regrets. Because even if we do come back again, which I believe we do, you won't have the same dream. And that will haunt you because you will always feel as if something is missing. So live that dream. No matter what it is, and you're never too old. You're never too old. So with that being said, Miss Brittany, thank you so much, my sweet dear one, for spending an hour with me. The hour flew by.
Absolutely. Thank you. That was fantastic. It was such a pleasure.
It was a pleasure. I feel like I've made a new friend, and I can't wait to get you back in August and read your book, and then we can talk about your new adventures. And I will get you the show tonight, so because this show is my gift to you. You get to share it with everybody else.
Yay!
Put it on your website. Put it wherever you want it, because it's your show. I'm only successful because you guys make me look good. So, ladies and gentlemen, remember tomorrow night at 8 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, Michael Gates, and remember this: if you want to achieve greatness, stop asking permission. With that, we say good night.
Good night.
So, thank you, my dear, so very, very much.
You're fantastic. Thank you so much.
You're fantastic. I don't know where the hour went. It went somewhere. I don't know. But use the anagram fear. Build on it.
Oh, I will.
Because it's I've lived by it for a long, long time. And
absolutely. I love it.
And none of us get out alive anyway, so they're going to have to drag me kicking and screaming, so I'm going to have fun while I can.
Heck yes.
No more being anxious, no more being scared, no more being worried about getting hit by a truck. If I get hit by a truck, you know what they're going to say at my funeral? Yeah, that bitch is finally gone.
Oh, yes. I love it.
All right, my darling, I will get you set up. And is there any particular night that is good for you or better than others?
Any night, really, especially going into August. That's whenever.
Okay. All right. I will get a date set up, and I will send it to you, and then we will just rock and roll. And I am going to download your book tonight on my Kindle.
Oh, you're awesome. Thank you so much.
Thank you, darling. And I will talk to you in a couple of days.
Great. Have an awesome night.
You too. Stay happy, stay safe, and stay unpredictable.
Oh, absolutely. You too.
All right, darling. Good night.
All righty. Bye-bye.
Okay, keep your eyes closed.
Okay.
I want to show you my first ever painting.
All right.
Okay. Open your eyes.
Oh, that's a lot of colors and shapes.
So be honest. What do you think?
Well, I like how if you switch to Geico, you could save hundreds of dollars on car insurance.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
Yeah. Here, why don't I hold your paintbrush while you call them?
Geico, because saving 15% or more on car insurance is always a great answer.
Progressive presents Mindfulness with Flow.
You are a mighty fortress of supreme knowledge. Progressive Direct has not only revealed their rates, but those of their competitors. If you were any more in the know, you would be drowning in, the know.
Compare Progressive Direct rates with competitors' rates, because knowledge is power. Visit Progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Comparison rates not available in all states or situations. Prices vary based on how you buy.